Hey everyone, you're watching Simply Put on Business Insider and I'm Sri Rama here. This is that time of the year where for the last few days, all that you have heard is the word budget, budget, budget. And still you may not know whether it was good, bad or ugly because of all the noise around it. There are a lot of questions on people's mind and that is why what we've done is put together some of them, even post those questions to officials from the government and gotten you the responses so that you can make up your own mind. So here it is. I'm going to start off with the first big question that's on top of everybody's mind, especially the Indian middle class. Why was there no income tax cut this time around?
There are times when it'll have to wait a bit longer.
Farmers' income was supposed to be doubled by 2022. Why is it not there yet? And why are we talking about even longer term promises when, most importantly, should the finance minister have acknowledged it, right? I mean, you can chalk it up to the pandemic, but say that, you know what, we couldn't do it right now because last 2 years were tough. Maybe by 24, 25, it'll be achieved. She didn't mention it at all.
I think farmers' income, incidentally, has actually gone up very substantially. It is one sector that has not been too badly hurt. I don't know where we are, how far we have gone up.
I think one estimate is 60%, 59% or something.
Yeah, so we will get quite, may not exactly to when we will reach exactly doubling, I don't know. No. But we won't do too badly, I can assure you, because if you look at the returns, and the economic survey has some, the returns to growing various crops is not low. And so that, whether it's MSPs or also growth in allied services like dairying, fisheries, etc., returns on agriculture have actually done reasonably well in the last couple of years. I mean, okay, pandemic-related impact, etc. But
and inflation.
Farmers, most of that impact, ironically, would have come from the fact that farmers also have a significant amount of non-farm income that they also get. So that non-farm part of the income is where most of the hit is, not on the farm part of the income.
All stakeholders in the economy really need to keep an eye on is the risk of inflation.
भारत में जिन प्रोडक्ट्स का उत्पादन हो रही है वो इंपोर्ट के नाते अलाउ करना सही नहीं है, मगर जिसका उत्पादन इधर नहीं है मगर वो रॉ मटेरियल है क्योंकि डाउनस्ट्रीम इंडस्ट्रीज का वो आवश्यक है, फिर उसका इंपोर्ट अलाउ कर रहे हैं.
The most important thing is to create jobs, right? And we are telling you how we intend to do it.
The government's delusion has been that they can create jobs.
No, government can enable employment. If the government itself is creating an employment, why 30 years? That has been true from the day we became a socialist country, that the government should be the driver of employment generation. Absolutely not. The progress is when the private sector generates jobs. The question is, how do we enable it to do it?
The question of roads, highways, airports, I think this government has fared fairly well. Even the worst critics of it can't find too many flaws. And this is true even from the first term itself, right? In which case, why has the employment scenario not, why is it not better already?
The fact is, we went through major economic shock for the last 2 years. I mean, taking that out of the equation is to simply miss the point. We did go through very unusual times in the last 2 years. Now we are coming out of it, and hopefully this will gather pace.
Basically, it seems like, government is saying that, it's for every time, it can't be me giving home loan sobs so that somebody buys your house. If the price is right, people will buy it.
Remember, even though interest rates have begun to creep up a little bit, they are still very close to the bottom. Cheapest home loans available ever in at least in a few generations is probably now available. Okay. So the necessary conditions can be created to some extent.
The rural demand and two-wheelers are closely linked.
They have been historically closely linked, but in this specific case, the problem is a different one. People are moving away from old combustion engine two-wheelers, and they are clearly showing a preference for moving on to electrical two-wheelers, right? The problem is the electrical guys are unable to ramp up their capacity fast enough. Go and ask Ola, whoever it is, and you can go into Twitter and daily fights are going on about how the delivery is delayed. Now, whether it's the problem with the new people didn't anticipate it, don't have chips, whatever the problem is, do not confuse lack of demand with lack of supply.
So folks, that was all on Simply Put this week. These were some of the most important questions around the budget that we had chosen so far, and I'm sure there are many more. So do send us in your questions, tag us on social media, and ask whatever you have on your mind. And if we don't know the answer, honestly, we'll go find it for you. That's our job. But we will assure you one thing, that you may not have to, it will clear your doubt. It will be the simplest possible explanation of the most complex question. That's what Simply Put is all about. Do subscribe to our newsletter if you haven't already. This is Sriram Iyer signing off for now. Until next week.